Hello, welcome to the second of 3 presentations from the Office of Career Development and Calling in partnership with your professors in the Intro to Healthcare course. For this presentation on the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, you will need your results that were emailed to you and a blank sheet of paper to jot down your notes and observations. At the end of this presentation, you will understand how your type relates to how you take in information and make decisions. You'll recognize the benefit of diversity of types, understand the strengths and shortcomings of your type, and develop strategies to work with those who have opposite preferences from your own. You'll also consider how your unique type relates to your future career. Before diving in, I just want to say this is one step of self-discovery and personal growth. It does not define you and lock you into specific ways of doing life. Let's begin. These are the 4 dimensions of type. First, how do we interact with the world and where do we direct our energy? E and I. Next, we'll look at the kind of information we naturally notice. S and N. Next, how do we make decisions? T and F. And then lastly, how do we organize our external world? J and D. Let's explore each type more deeply. First, how do you direct your energy? Look at the 2 images and notice which one you gravitate toward. Do other people and external experiences energize you? Or are you energized by your inner resources and internal experiences? Here's an activity to see how this all fits. Suppose President Allen cancels all classes and all homework assignments for the day. What would you decide to do with your day off? Grab your sheet of paper and write down your answer. What would be your ideal free day, and how would you like to spend it? This slide has information for E and I. Notice, read through each side of the slide to see which one you connect with more. Please keep in mind that the I and E spectrum is less like a coin flip and more like a dial, so you can have extroverted qualities as well as introverted qualities. Pay attention to which outnumbers the other. You'll see a percentage of how much or how clear on your results pages. If it's a tiny bar, you could be an E or an I, and you have qualities from both. If it has a solid bar to the right or the left, that means your preference is extreme for introversion or extreme for extroversion. Please take a minute to read through all of these and write down the bullet points you see here that are true for you. Which points connect most with you? Next, we'll look at how you take in information. Refer to the image on the left and determine if you are more hands-on with the parts to see the overall design, or do you study the overall design to see how all the parts fit together. Another way to think about this is, do you think about the end before you start, or do you want to start at steps 1, 2, and 3? Here's an example. Take a minute to look at this art and pay attention to what you first notice. What we know about this observation is those with an S preference are more likely to take in information using their 5 senses. You might have noticed the color first. You would have likely noticed it looks rainy. You would have noticed details like the lights, the couple, the benches, and the location of the painting. Those with leniency towards N would have drawn some sort of a feeling. They might create a story around the image that we showed. They would look at the big picture. Regarding the couple, they imagine that they just started going on a walk after a rainy day, and they're talking about something important. They would typically garner a more conceptual observation from a painting like that. What were your observations tied to? Details or concepts? From the bullet points on the screen, which ones resonate with you? Take a moment to jot those down on your paper too. Next, let's look at how you make decisions. Do you see things as an onlooker from outside of a situation? Do you have an objective viewpoint? Or do you see things as a participant from within a situation? Do you put yourself in the other person's shoes? Here's an activity that gives you an example of what we're discussing. Pretend you are a coach of a Little League team of 10 preschoolers. Your team wins a paid trip to Disney World. The only catch is only 7 of those 10 players can go. It's up to you to decide who gets to go on this trip and who stays behind. Take a minute to write down your decision-making process. What are you thinking of first? Please pause to write this down before going to the next slide. How did you make your decision? Were you able to make a decision? What we've noticed is those with T are the ones able to reach a decision and are happy with how fair it is. So whether that be figuring out how to use some sort of a drawing, basing it on perfect attendance to practices and games, seeing if all 10 can even go, if they're all available, Ts are usually able to get to the decision sooner. Those who have F feel bad for the 3 who may not be able to go. So they're trying to figure out how we can get those 3 to go. They're asking, should we fundraise? Should I pay out of my own pocket to get those 3 to go? Someone with the F type would wrestle with the decision and may be unable to make it. So that's the contrast that we've noticed. Those with T approach fairness objectively, and then F look at things on a situational basis and have feelings that come up with tough decisions, such as this. Lastly, the final letter touches on how you organize your external world. Do you appreciate definite order and structure, or do you prefer to go with the flow? Here's an activity. Take a moment to write down your weekend plans. What will you do with your weekend? So, how is it writing out your plans? How specific were they? If you're a J, it was likely to be a very specific plan of what you will do. You may be babysitting on Saturday at a specific time, or have brunch plans on Sunday. All the details are fully planned and you are ready. That would be something that you've already got in your mind. J's dislike last-minute pressures and changes in plans. And now, if you're a P, you probably go with the flow, meaning, I don't know, at some point I'm going to go do my 2 assignments, then I'm going to eat lunch. I don't know exactly the time, but at some point I'll hang out with my friends. We'll see what that looks like. So you might have ideas of what's going to happen, but you still need to make definite plans. If you're meeting up with a J, the details are likely more planned, but you really like the idea of being able to sketch some of the stuff in and be spontaneous about it. Look again at these columns to see which one is more like you. I acknowledge that sometimes the school and work and balancing commitments gears everyone towards J, just because you have to show up to all the things. But if you're a P, if every chance you get to not make a plan, you really want to see how you feel and then decide in the moment, that would indicate that you're more of a P. Write down the bullet points that resonate with you. Now that we've looked at the top 4 letters and walked through examples, you can use your MBTI career report to go into detail about strategies to explore the healthcare career you're interested in. Knowing that these 4 angles are of your type, there's also a listing of areas to work on, given that your preferences are what they are. Take the time to move through all the pages, read, and use the strategies that will help you explore healthcare careers. The Job Families page will rank specific industries or job types that might be more appealing or more of a fit for your personality type. If your report does not have healthcare careers in your top section, that's okay. This assessment simply looks at trends for your personality type. There are a variety of personality types in many different job industries. Now, these are the things that we would like you to keep in mind. If you disagree with your results, Write about that on your paper. That's important to remember and be aware of, especially after a lecture like this. Also, if you'd like, please schedule a meeting with a career coach for an individualized session. We can talk about what doesn't quite add up or doesn't sound as much like you as you see yourself. Keep your notes from this session and use them as you write your vocational mission paper. Finally, as always, we'd love to meet with you. Stop by our office or schedule an appointment through Handshake for any career support anytime. Thank you.